Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode we are talking about Georgia wide receiver Riley Ridley in terms of his production analytics. If you're new to the channel and new to the work that I do, all terms and definitions will be in the description. Now, with all that stuff out of the way, let's get to his production data. So first off, Riley Ridley has a 27.35 passing yardage market share production score. He does not hit the 5-time All-Pro threshold, the 3-time All-Pro threshold, the 3-time Pro Bowl threshold, or even the long-term starter threshold at the position, which is not that great. And of course, when you look at the averages at the position, the average All-Pro score is 92.14, the average Pro Bowl score is 88.38, and the average starter score is 81.45. Ridley, of course, is 27.35 out of 100. My biggest issue with Riley Ridley is because of the hype around him, which has been one man by the name of Brad Kelly. And, you know, Brad Kelly, we had our words on Twitter about a bunch of different stuff in the past, calling out production data, saying it doesn't matter, saying route running is better. And again, Brad Kelly is a film scout through and through. I'm not saying he's a bad film scout. I've seen his work. I do think he's very good at identifying the various, aspects of the wide receiver position that works. Again, there's nothing wrong with Brad Kelly as a talent evaluator. What I think is wrong is when you basically disagree with someone because you don't entirely understand what you're coming from. What I mean by that is he did an article basically comparing Riley Ridley to Michael Thomas. And my issue with that is that Michael Thomas had a 68.17 production score, and Riley Ridley had a 27.35. Like, how do you compare those two? If you're someone who doesn't understand production analytics, you don't understand market share data, so you're just gonna throw a name out there because this is a guy that everybody said his production wasn't great. Because again, there's so many people. I get this all the time where people go, well, they said his production wasn't great. Were you talking to me or were you talking to them? Because there's going to be a lot of people out there who try to do production data and they don't have the full scope of data. I have thousands of wide receiver performances since the 1969 NFL draft class. Thousands. I've seen every single outcome. Every single one. Every single one. Like, I've seen every single wide receiver, from the All-Pro players to the Pro Bowl players to the starters to guys I didn't even know who they were. I just knew that they had NFL careers at the time. Guys that weren't even born when I was born. That's how far back my data goes. So if a guy says, well, a guy isn't productive, or a guy isn't athletic, or a guy isn't this or isn't that, you're listening to the wrong people. Because you have to understand that where I'm coming from is all the information. Like, that's where I'm coming from. I'm looking at the universe. They're looking at a galaxy, or even a solar system in some cases. And that is the big sort of issue that when it comes to a guy like Riley Ridley. Now, does this mean that Riley Ridley is not going to become an NFL starting wide receiver? No. Riley Ridley, based on his production data, could become a starter potentially as a outlier. I'm going to do a video in the future about outliers, but I think the closest wide receivers to Riley Ridley, based on his production data, was Dwight Clark and Lavernius Coles. Neither one of those guys was multiple Pro Bowl players. Neither one of those guys was a multiple All-Pro player. Were they NFL wide receivers? Yes. And I think that Riley Ridley, based on his production, and I guess based on the fact that film scouts love him so much, could easily become a starting NFL wide receiver. But if you're going to take this guy in the top 10 of the NFL draft, the top 15, the top 20, the top 30 even of this particular draft class, when you have so many wide receivers in this class that have so much better data, guys like Tyler Johnson, guys like Hakeem Butler, when you have all of these guys over here that are so much more productive, so much more potential based on their production data, I just don't get it. So again, this isn't a video to call out somebody or whatever, but this is just to get people to understand that the perspective I'm coming from is a global perspective, like a much larger perspective. When I tell you a player's production is below average, it is legitimately below average. Like, there's no ins and outs out of it. And you can't just say Michael Thomas and all of a sudden, boom, you know, you're busted. Like, you can't do that, because Michael Thomas was above average productive. And not only that, he hit the Pro Bowl area of his production marks. Now, if he becomes more than that, then he becomes an outlier. But at this point, he's pretty much meeting the expectations that the data said of him. Riley Ridley, on the other hand, you know, we'll see. But ultimately, that's just the big sort of issue with a guy like him. And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Gymmetrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification bell in case you want to be reminded when another video of mine drops. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.